Welcome to this session of Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. My name is Rachi Rana, and today I am delighted to be having a discussion about tech and tech careers with interviewee Miss Susanne Tedrick, a technical trainer at Microsoft. Hi, Susanne.
Hi, Rachi. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Um, so before I get started with the questions, there's a little bit I want to talk about this series and why we're doing it. So then we can go ahead and then with the interview. Um, Talking Tech is a series celebrating girls and women in tech. It's being recorded around the world between Girls in ICT Day 2020 and Girls in ICT Day 2022. Girls in ICT Day is an international day marked on the fourth Thursday of each April. The objective is to help create a global environment that encourages young women to consider studies and careers in the field of ICT, information and communication technologies. The Talking Tech series is brought to you by the ITU, the UNICC, and the Office of UN Secretary General's Envoy on Youth, and is in support of Equals, the global partnership for gender equality in the digital age. Hi again, and thank you for joining me today. So to start things off, if you would not mind introducing yourself again, like what do you do, what's your current job? So that'd be great.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. It's a sincere pleasure to be with you, Rachi. I've gotten to know you in the last couple of weeks, and it's just been phenomenal. So I'm very, very honored to be with you. So I currently work as a Microsoft technical trainer for Microsoft, where I concentrate on their cloud computing platform, which is referred to as Azure. So anything dealing with compute or network or storage or data, anything that's related to products or services that are on the Azure platform, I help my clients to better understand, well, how to utilize it, how to best utilize it, and give them the understanding so that they can be successful in whatever their endeavors on our cloud platform is going to ultimately be.
Great. So to get started, like when and how did you get into the technology? Did you have a straight career path or like a traditional path, or like did you get into it? How did you start into it?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, Rachi, because I certainly did not have a traditional path into technology. In fact, I would say that I've been in technology for roughly about 6 to 7 years now. Most recently coming into this role, but a number of other roles within technology. Before coming into technology, I actually worked in administrative and operations type roles in financial services. So completely different. Didn't go to school for technology, didn't have a lot of technical people in my life or a lot of technical exposure. But the thing that really, or the two things that really got me wanting to learn more and eventually pursue this particular industry. The first is that I had always been interested in technology as a child. When I was really, really young, my dad would bring home all kinds of, computers and electronics, and I would be just fascinated by them and staying up until 2, 4 in the morning just to see how they would work. Much to their chagrin, I would sometimes open them up to see how they work. And sometimes they would still be working. We'll see. But I always had that curiosity and that spark about technology. When I got to a certain point in my career in financial services, it was well paying and I was very well respected by my peers and my supervisors. But there was something missing in terms of having a level of engagement with the work that I was doing. I really didn't feel like at the end of the day that this was work that was utilizing all of my skills and my passions. And I thought a lot about, what another career could potentially look like. And I thought back about my childhood, about all the things that I loved doing. And that was the impetus for me to try to figure out, well, you've always loved technology, so why not pursue that as as a career. And so I went through this multi-year career journey that led me to internship and a full-time job at IBM, and now in a full-time position at Microsoft.
Oh yes, it was quite a journey, but thank God you found your way into technology and we're here right now. So, like, since you've already told me like the path you followed and what was your motivation behind it, like, what is your tech job right now? Is it uh, for the better? Like, do you see yourself going through years of in this field? What is it right now?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I foresee staying in for as long as I can. It's never a dull moment in terms of, the technology that you're going to be learning about. It's always fun having different conversations with different clients on, what they're doing in cloud or in other technology areas. It's always a lot of fun. There are certainly challenges, to be sure, from the perspective of keeping up with all of this technology. It can be pretty. It's a lot to keep up with. So finding the time to study and keep up with things, it can be a little bit much. And then being a woman in the field, there's certainly challenges that come with it. There's progress for sure, but there are opportunities where companies and the industry can do more to support women in the field.
Yep, I completely agree with you. Since I've also faced a little bit, there are a lot of the ratio is not quite there yet. There are a lot less women in tech, so I completely agree with you. Since you made like a job switch to take tech, have you encountered any challenges along the way? And if so, like how did you overcome them?
For sure, I had a lot of challenges for sure. The first being, understanding. Okay, Suzanne, you think you want a career in tech. What does that look like? And so, for someone that had no real tech exposure, I have no idea what I wanted to do or what I wanted to be. I had these very vague ideas about what a tech career was. So like being a programmer or being a network engineer. And those were not necessarily things that appealed to me, but I said, surely there's got to be, more things. The second part of that was acquiring skill. You have to be able to have the opportunities to develop the technical and professional skills, to be successful in a tech career. You need both. You need both equally. And the third biggest challenge was finding support. Because I am a very firm believer that no one person is successful on their own. They need support to find jobs and advance in their jobs. And because I really didn't know anyone in the tech industry or even the job that I wanted, it was really difficult to figure out, well, who can I reach out to give me guidance? And when things got tough, because they did, who can I reach out to support me through these particularly tough times? So the things I did to address those challenges are twofold. When it came to skill, I did pursue traditional schooling. I did go to Northwestern University and I studied a dual program that focuses on information technology, but traditional communication studies as well. But I supplemented my learning with other types of learning. So I pursued things such as hackathons and boot camps. I did skilled volunteering. Any way that I could find to take the theory that I was learning in class and apply it in real life so that I could continue to build on my skill, I took those opportunities wherever I could. And the second was taking the time to network and build a professional network. And that, if you can believe it, was a little harder for me to do than the technical skill, because I am an introvert by nature. So the whole thing of network, no, I don't want to do that. But I've come to really not only understand the importance of networking, but I have become a much better technologist and a leader because of the extended network that I've had the privilege of getting to know.
Yeah, definitely. And like if you talk to other person, you get to know that there's a whole other world out there that you did not know of, right? So yeah, definitely a good advice. So like, can you share an example of like anything you've done with tech that you are like particularly proud of, that you can like boast about? Yep, I've done this.
So yeah, there's actually there are two things I've been really proud of. The first was in 2020. I had the unique opportunity to write and publish a book called Women of Color in Tech, to help inform and inspire women of color to pursue tech careers. And a lot of those experiences were, or the things I write about in the book, were based on my own experiences transitioning into technology. And so being able to reach audiences who have gone through similar struggles and are having similar challenges, and being able to have conversations with them and see their success has been tremendous to me. Like being able to see that, to witness that firsthand, it's been a very, very phenomenal thing for me. The second thing that I've been really happy to have the opportunity to do, I've been affiliated with an IT professional organization called CompTIA, which is widely known for their entry-level IT certifications. And for the past couple of years, I have been serving on their Advancing Tech Talent and Diversity Executive Council. And I've been so proud of the work that we've been able to do there, because not only are we focusing on workforce development, like making sure that the next generation of technologists that are coming into the workforce have the skills to be competitive and to find these jobs, but really talking to organizations about what does it mean to not only have a diverse population, but how do we ensure that we are providing equitable opportunities for everybody, and how do we make sure that we're designing inclusive environments where people feel like they belong. And so that work has been really great to do, and seeing just the progression that a lot of companies have been making when it comes to bringing more diverse talent has been amazing.
Yeah, I did not know about that myself. So thank you so much for the information that you're providing us today with. It's so great. Like, do you have any like kind of role model you respect? Any person that you look up to, or anyone you can think of right now?
Yeah, I've been really lucky in that I've developed a network with a ton of people that I really admire. I think the person that always resonates with me, so she actually doesn't work in technology, but she embodies everything that I try to do in my work in terms of perseverance and tenacity. And it's Melody Hobson, who is, I believe, co-president of Ariel Investments. And I've been obsessed with her background for quite some time, not only because of all of the amazing things that she's done. She literally started in the mailroom of the company and is now the co-president. I mean, That's dedication. You know,
Yes, that is.
there's just there's just this commitment, you know, to excellence that she exudes in everything that she does. But looking at her history, you know, she had some very challenging things to go through in her own personal life, from, you know, what was going on in her home life, as well as, you know, being a Black woman in a field that technically doesn't have a lot of Black women, especially when we start talking about senior leadership and executive leadership. Seeing her journey and her story is just an inspiration to me, especially as challenges arise, to hold firm to the things that I believe in, the things that I want to commit to, and to keep persevering and just having that grit to get through things.
Oh, she sounds like an awesome person. I'd love to get to know her as well. I'm gonna like research about her because I haven't heard of her. So that was great that those kind of person exist. Because you know
You do reach her.
that needs like persistence and, like as you said, dedication to really get through that. I mean, that's awesome. So since like we already like talked about someone who has done that, do you have any advice for like young girls or like women who are just starting out their careers, or like who are into their in like already in their career but like they want to know more about it? Can you give them some advice, like any suggestions?
Yeah, and a lot of this is just things that I've, you know, kind of picked up over the last couple of years. Always be curious. Always, like, even if it's something that isn't necessarily directly connected to a particular area of technology that you're in, you'll never know the synergies or the possibilities that exist until you spend time doing those things. So for example, I do spend a bit of time learning more about artificial intelligence because there are linkages between cloud and the increased use of artificial intelligence in our everyday lives. While AI is not necessarily my primary domain, it's something that fascinates me and can open up a number of different opportunities. The second goes back to the conversation on networking, and that is, you know, if there is a company that you want to work at, or if there's a particular technology area that you are interested in, I would take the time to reach out to people and just set up informational interviews with them. You know, nothing that needs to result in a job or a particular opportunity, but just so that you know, like, okay, what's the great thing about working at this company? What's the not so great thing? What's the in between? What does success look like? And what are the things that I need to be thinking about? And the beauty about doing this is that it gives you an indication of, like, do I want to invest the time and the energy towards this? Does this fit with my goals? Does this fit with my work values? You're going to hear it directly from someone who has that firsthand knowledge as to whether or not this is something that you may want to invest your time and energy in. Because you know, when you go through your tech career, you're going to be spending a lot of time studying and refining, and you don't always know how it's going to end. But you don't want to focus on something that isn't going to bring you joy either. And it's better to find that out earlier in the process than later. So highly, highly encourage that. And I guess the third thing is, you know, network with your peers. Take the time to understand, you know, what your peers are doing, because you never know what kind of projects they're working on that could be, you know, an area of synergy for you. You never know where there could be commonalities where you can learn from each other and be in a you know, informal mentoring relationship. You know, there's just a ton of things that that you can do if you just spend time to get to know one another. There's a collective strength that I think comes with getting to know each other. So those are the primary three things that I would recommend for young women, is to be curious and keep learning. Set up those informational interviews so that you know if you want to invest your time, and get to know one another, because you can do great things together.
That's so true. I also believe that, like success isn't like same for everyone. Sometimes some people it's money, some people it's, the long hours, the breaks you get in some kind of company, the perks you get. So that's definitely true.
Yeah,
Uh,
hit on something that I think is really important in understanding what your happiness is, and you're absolutely right. For some people, it's money.
yeah.
Well, it's your position. I know for me, I derive a lot of my happiness being able to mentor others and to see them succeed. And so having those opportunities to be able to mentor, to be able to coach, like, not to say that money isn't important, but money is important. It is. But that opportunity to really impact and change someone's life for the better, it is, I can't put into words how great of a feeling it is.
So again, any like lessons you've learned along the way that, I should do this and I should not have definitely not done that, or something like that. Any advices?
For sure. Yeah, it's funny. I talk a lot about, when I describe my career, I talk a lot about my successes, but I also talk a lot about my failures as well, because I want to be truthful, and I want people to also know that we're all human and that we're all having these same struggles and these same challenges. I think the biggest thing that I wish I hadn't done was doubt myself so much. There's something to be said for being new in your career and inexperienced and not knowing. But then it crosses into this weird area where you're constantly putting yourself into this mental state where you're just like, oh, I can't, or I'm too inexperienced, or I'm not good enough for, this particular job because I don't have these experiences. And so I had a lot of negative self-talk that I think talked me out of opportunities. I think it talked me out of pursuing a career change much, sooner in my life. All of these things that I think just kind of negatively impacted me. Now, that isn't to say that you're not getting like external pressures that are pushing on you to think these things. But sometimes you have to stop the negative narrative in your head and reframe it, like really challenge, what do you mean that you can't do it? Why are you saying this? Like, are you serious? Like, it really, takes an opportunity to just take a step back and look and examine at your fears and where they're coming from. Because that can be just as much of a blocker as, not being able, to know a particular programming language or not understanding a particular networking protocol. Sometimes you can be your worst enemy, and sometimes it really is helpful to just take a step back and examine what you're saying to yourself and whether it is serving your purposes or it isn't. The second thing that I'm definitely learning now is it's okay to take a break. It's okay to like not always have your foot on the gas and then constantly going at like 100 miles per hour, especially if you're going through like a particularly challenging part of your career, like if you're in the process of trying to find a new job, or if you're going through like a challenging situation at your current job, or what have you. these are hard things that, that can take a lot of like a mental and physical toll on you. And rather than just say, I'm just going to push through it all the time, because sometimes you have to, sometimes it really is okay to say, I need a break. I'm going to watch Netflix. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to do yoga. Those are okay things to do. We don't always have to be figuring it all out immediately or conquering the world immediately.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes you will get to where you need to much faster once you take yourself out for a second to reevaluate what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because sometimes like when you take a break, then like recharge yourself, you do like some things better than you would have done without taking a break. So that's a really good advice. I should apply that in my real life as well. Um, I think the basic questions. I think I've asked you everything that I personally wanted to know, and that when I talked with you, I thought that other people should know about you. I think I've asked you. Other than that, I know that you're also author, and then like what is the like motivation behind like everything you do? Because you have a full-time job, you do these volunteers, you're also writing like book, and you're like a co-author and then author. Like right now, what is the motivation behind it? Uh,
Yeah, it's funny when you outline it like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. It is. I think though, for me, I don't look at these things as their work, but their work that I genuinely enjoy. And the motivation for me is truly just to see more people succeed in the tech industry, and to perhaps not have as many challenges as exists right now. Um, the book that I wrote is the book that, in some level, I wish I had when I was going through the process. And so, as I mentioned at the beginning of the interview, being able to hear the success stories and hear about people, doing things that they wanted to do, and not having to have the significant hardships or the setbacks that the people before them have had, helps, because this encourages more people to take that same path, and it encourages them to stay in those professions, and really building up more diverse environments and inclusive environments. So for me, the motivation is I truly just want to see people succeed. I especially want to see women of color, people who generally have not always been afforded opportunity equally, have not been afforded resources, as much as other people. I want them to succeed in technology because it's a fun industry to be in. And it's an industry that desperately needs as many great, diverse people than perhaps some other industries. And the point that I always point to is that we're a world that is so reliant on technology in everything that we do. Eating, sleeping, money, you name it. Like everything that we do has technology in it. And we need to be sure that the products and the services that we're building are not continuing to marginalize already marginalized groups. And when you have homogenous groups continuing to make these products and these services, we can't be too sure that we're being inclusive. So for me, there's a very, very big importance that we need to have diverse audiences in the room and at the table making these solutions, so to benefit all of us and not just a few of us.
yes. Oh, that was awesome. I got I got inspired again. Uh, because I've seen that, I talked to a few people here and there, and then, some people, they have no idea about so many things. And I say, you could do this. And they're like, really? I could do that? And then, because everything is available online, you could look it up, and then there's a whole, just a laptop and a connection of internet, and you could like, set up your whole career or whole life. You could, if some people are having like any kind of money problem, they could solve with it. If they have like any kind of like career problems, they could solve with it. So when I tell them that, you could just get these information for free, you can learn for free. There are so many sites out there, even in YouTube, there are like so many tutorials they're giving, out for free. You could just learn through those and then start your whole life through it. But some people, they don't have awareness about it, and then it's really, you know, really important for people like you or others to make like some kind of awareness, give out awareness to those people who have no idea. So I completely agree with whatever
Oh
you said.
yeah, for sure. Not to completely age myself, but I was around before the YouTube and the current iteration of the internet. But it's great, the number of free resources that are available for people to just picking up to learn how to code, or picking up how to create their own little mini computer. There's probably been no better time for access for information so widely and so freely. But to your point, Rachi, there's still awareness that sometimes doesn't happen. Sometimes there's like not always access to information. Sometimes there are some physical barriers, as well as some intangible barriers that still keep people from being able to have access to this learning and essentially opportunity. And that's something that I think we all collectively as a society have to keep working on in different, however we decide to do it, but that's all something that we have to commit to doing, because we're not going to see the change that we want in terms of who's getting hired at these companies, who's being the senior leadership, who's heading up these research projects. We're not going to see that change unless we all commit to it in some way.
Yeah, so I think I'm done with like the like, questionnaires. If it's all right, do you want me to wrap it up?
Yeah. So do I ask you questions here, or?
I mean, I guess just ask like a few questions. Feel like it's more about like the people who are already in the tech, but you could ask like a little bit about me so
Well,
that.
no, I would love to talk about you for a little while. If that's okay.
Yeah, sure. Any kind of questions, I hope I can answer it properly.
Oh no, they're basically along the same lines of what you asked me. Like so tell me about yourself.
Yes. As you know, my name is Rachi Rana. Currently, I am like in between jobs. I got my computer science degree from Stevens Institute of Technology. You know, since not since childhood, but while I was doing my undergrad, I wasn't quite interested in technology. I just got into it. There was not much of an option where I'm from. I'm from like a small country, Nepal. So it's either you get into like engineering or doctor or some like straight path that you get a job into it. So that's how I got into it. But eventually, as I kept learning, I got more interested in it, and now I wouldn't have taken another path that like this is even like given other choices, I would have taken this path for me. So that's a little bit about myself.
That's awesome. And it's just funny how, like you never thought,
Yeah, I know.
something that I would pursue. And now, like once you get that spark, you're like, okay, I have to keep doing this. That's awesome.
It gets more interesting the more you learn about it, because it's it's a vast world of, like, everything is connected to technology. Every little thing, every small, from small company to a large company, everything every company has an IT department. So there's always something available. So that's the great thing about technology, I think.
Exactly. No, you're right. It's like I can think of maybe one industry, and I'm not even sure that I can think of only one industry where technology like isn't like a part of the conversation. But I'm even sure that I'm probably wrong in that respect as well. So I guess thinking about this path that you're taking, is there a particular technology area that really interests you?
Yes, I am more interested in, like, cloud technologies and data wise as well. I'm interested in, like, um, data mining, and as you said, since I'm interested in cloud as well, so of course I'm interested in machine learning and artificial intelligence as well. But eventually I want to get into that path as well, because it is the future. I feel like that is the future, um, as like what the industry is going through. So I want to get into that as well.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I talk about cloud all day, but but it is becoming it at one point was a nice to have technology, and now it's in everything that we do. I mean, just the way how we're communicating right now
Yes, exactly.
because of cloud. It's like it's become the backbone of a lot of what we're doing. But with data as well, what someone told me at work was like data is money. It's a form of currency, because
Right.
what you're able to do with data and its implications for everybody is tremendous. And then when you think about the amount of data that gets collected
Yes.
on on you just on a regular basis, it's astounding. And then thinking about what companies can monetize off of that, the things that they can create off of that. There's just a lot of tremendous opportunity. So that's an area that I'm also kind of like studying as well, even though I focus more on more traditional cloud computing components. It's a very important piece that I think every technologist has to think about.
Yeah, definitely. um yeah, that's the reason, actually. You look into just like random data, and then you think that no, it doesn't make any sense. But if you like start connecting those dots and eventually like visualize it, and like analyze it, and everything you go through it, and it gives you like information. So that's what actually what draws me towards it. So even though like I'm interested in like cloud, and then technology, like ops as well, like operations part as well, I'm interested in, like, mostly in data, because as I said, it gives like the whole picture, the whole story, about anything or everything. You connect those dots, you see it from afar, and then you're like, oh, this is the information that this is giving us. The whole company's like profits and loss, and like everything about the business that it's handling. You could get from data only. So I get, I get as excited looking through
Awesome.
it.
So is there any particular thing or particular person that I guess inspires you to continue to deepen your knowledge right now?
Yeah, it's my friends, actually. Nothing, nothing, no one like really famous, because they're my peers and colleagues, and we've like been through this journey. We've like started the journey together, and I look at them, and then they're like working at like big tech companies, uh, and it really inspires me, because I know like what kind of hardship they've been through, and what the works they've put in to it. So seeing them, I get inspired from them only. We talk to them. I mean, I talk to them. We talk with each other, and then I get like, wow, we've come a long way, and here we are. How did we get here? And talking to them and talking people around me, I get like they're my inspiration actually. um because whenever like I'm down or something, they're the ones that like motivating me, you could do it, it's not a problem. So I have a lot of time where I have like self-doubt, and they're the one who keeps motivating me. So they inspire me. I look at them and then get inspired myself. So
That's amazing. And you've got to love friends that not only support you, but inspire you to keep going and to be the best in your field and the best in life. So that's super awesome to hear that. And I want to be your friends now. They sound awesome.
Yes, so yes, of course, you, now that we've become friends, you are one of them. So of course, you're the one. I'm gonna like write your name and then be like, Susanne does this. I should be in, I should get motivation from you.
I would love that. I sincerely would, because yeah, your friends are they're the ones that get you through and inspire you to be really, really great at everything you do. So it's nice that you have that. And like I said, I'm definitely going to meet them. I guess my last question, and I'll frame it in a different way, but we talked about what is my advice to young women that are coming into the field. As a young, emerging leader in the field, what is your advice to the people like leaders, that are in the field? Are there things that we could be doing better? Are there things that are opportunities that we should be thinking about? Anything come to mind?
Yes, yes. I'd say that don't stay idle for a long time. Like, having like getting like breaks and then just not doing anything is good. But staying like idle for a long time, it just is not, I don't think it's good. Because you lose motivation, you lose ideas. You don't like, again, the networking as well. You don't get in touch with many people. So staying, because you don't go out and then like you're not doing anything. So I would say like don't stay idle for too long. Like even if you're like not interested in like some things, just to get started, and then see if it does not work out, then just like, oh yeah, it didn't work out, and then like move to another path. But like not getting started and just staying idle would be, I don't like, that would be a major drawback in your life, because I did those things for a while, and then I could like, if it's something that I regret. um, I used to regret, on not nowadays, but before I used to regret that, I shouldn't have stayed idle. I should have like done something at that time. I should have done anything, even if it was like a small job, just because some people, they wait and then be like, I'm going to work in a big company or like big, huge corporation. And that's, well, if it does not happen, then start like small and then see like where it goes. Because if you're like working towards it and more persistent towards it, eventually you get to it. So that's what I want to like give advice on, even though like I'm not totally qualified to give, but that's just what I learned up until now.
I mean, I think we've all gone through life experiences that we all have rich information to pass on to people. So no, I think everything that you're saying is incredibly spot on, because you can have this sense of inertia when it comes to your career or other parts of your life, where you kind of press pause, and sometimes you have to. But to your point, there's this fine line between pressing pause and taking a break, and then there's just like, okay, what do you like, what's going on, and there's just there's nothing going on. And you could miss out on opportunities in technology because it changes so fast. you don't have the luxury all the time of staying out, completely. And, sometimes you have to make some very, very quick decisions about what to do. And I particularly loved your point about waiting for the right opportunity, because sometimes it literally is about the opportunity that's in front of you, and pursuing that for the time being until something else comes along. I have literally just shared with someone that um, I applied to Microsoft roughly about 6-7 years ago, and I didn't get in, but the bills still have to be paid, and I still got to do something, and I made it work, and I ended up at Microsoft today. So sometimes like we just have to keep moving, especially if things are not moving as quickly as we'd like them to, or if the opportunity isn't always presenting itself. So I think that's really great and wise advice. So thank you.
Oh, thank God, thank God. I agree. So I think we're almost at the end of the session. So I'll just like quickly wrap it up and then.
Sure.
Okay. That wraps up our session for today for Talking Tech, Women and Girls in ICT. Thank you so much, Ms. Suzanne, for joining us. I really enjoyed our chat today. Thanks so much for the viewers for watching. You've given us valuable points on what to do and what not to do. What are the motivations? That was a lot of information. Thank you so much.
It's my sincere pleasure, Rachi, and it was an honor to be interviewed by you. It was an honor to learn from you. I truly enjoy our time together, and we'll definitely make sure we'll keep it going. And for any viewers, thank you for making the time to watch. I hope that you found this very helpful.